Turn up my volume there a little bit. Hello, stampers. Hey, it's Christina Taylor here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from North Canton, Ohio, coming to you live with a class. I'm going to show you some cards here today that will help you take a simple card and do some extra stamps to it to make it stunning, just to make it really wow whoever you're sending it to. So I think that's really it. We're just going to jump on in and get started stamping. So I'm going to flip the camera down and we'll get started. Okay, I'm going to share a few things with you here before I get started with the projects that I have for you today. So today, let's see, this is my May class that I'm sharing projects with you, the Simple to Stunning card class. What I have coming up in June, on June 15th, is a paper piecing class. And when I say paper piecing, what I mean is like, do you find yourself when you're doing your stamp projects and you've got pieces and strips of designer series paper, cardstock, and think like, oh, I wish I knew what to do with these pieces. They're just maybe like inch strips here and there. Well, this class is for you because every crafter has this dilemma, and I will teach you how to take those just strips of cardstock and designer series paper that you have and make some pretty fabulous projects with them. So I would encourage you to register for the June class. Those cards will be all occasions, so you can kind of tweak them for what you need them for. And again, that'll be on June 15th. There's a 9:30 a.m. class and a 6:30 p.m. class. And those classes so it's $21 for Y members, $23 for non-Y members. And then if you're interested in a kit to go class, you can always contact me directly for that. And those kits to go are $23 as well. The registration does end 2 days before the June 15th class date. So on June 13th, you would need to register by. Then coming up in July, I have a Caring Note card class. And these projects will be like thinking of you, sympathy, and in hope and encouragement cards. Those kind of cards where you need that when you need one, you need to have it on hand because you usually don't have time to make one. So hopefully you can join me for a class or two in June or July. And then the mini catalog, the January through June mini catalog. This catalog actually ends the end of June. So if there are things in here that you want, I would encourage you to get them, especially if they're not carrying over to the new catalog. So we're going to be using several sets in here, this one in particular, the Ocean Front. But quite a few sets today are from this catalog and then the new annual catalog. And this is our new annual catalog if you've not seen it. So now, since it's after the release of it, I can show you the inside and all of its beauty. We're going to be using this set today too, the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. But this catalog is packed full of all kinds of new stamp sets, and the in colors are fabulous. Lots of new dies and punches and all the good things. So and I do have a couple spots in clubs still available that I'm trying to fill so those clubs can get going. So if you have interest in that, I do have one spot in a club that the ladies meet on Zoom, and we do projects over Zoom and then rotate, of course, the hostess benefits. And then I have another club where the ladies don't meet at all, and they just place orders each month, and then each month somebody gets the hostess benefits and you rotate through that. So it's a great way to get hostess benefits and then get your Stampin' Up! Items on a monthly budget. I do the clubs every other month, so it's not quite 6 months in a row. It's every other month for the course of the catalog year. So, and then lastly, I'll just share with you, I got my paper pumpkin for May and it is fabulous. Just came, so I haven't had time to do it, but it features all the in colors for the new catalog, which are wonderful. We're going to be using several of those today in the class. I'll just get a little closer look here. Excuse me. I had a yawn. I apologize for that. Anyway, these are the projects here, and I don't know if the camera is not really, I don't know what angle to really get it on so you can actually see. Anyway, it features all the 5 in colors in these really fun layouts with the coordinating colored envelopes. And it's a total of 10 regular size cards. So I'll just kind of show you the supplies in here. And I apologize because my camera, I can see that it's going in and out, and I don't know why it's doing that, but you know, my tech support is not here, so it's just me. And when I'm relying on my own tech knowledge, well, it is very limited, I will be honest with you. So you've got these coordinating envelopes with the in colors. And then you get a roll of tear and tape, which is great. It's a wonderful adhesive. Some little colored in colored gems, some mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and then the stamp set. Let me put that on the back of the envelope behind there. So it's the word happy, and then you, words just for, you make me, you can or can do anything, to have you in my life, and to celebrate your day. So all kinds of different words, phrases that you can use with happy, and you can use with the word you. And then this fun little speckled background too is part of the stamp set. Then these pieces here are designed so that they are little gift card holders. So what you would do is fold these back like so. So it's going to create a little pouch, and you can put a gift card right down in there, and you can use the tear and tape and fasten that right on the inside panel of your card. So there's one in here for each of the 10 cards. So you've got some different layouts. They're all kind of pieced together here with a variety of different designs and templates. They either have a white card base, or this is nice, they've got the gold foiling embossed, and same with the die, or the die cut pieces are already gold foiled embossed for you. And you just punch those out. There's some little label pieces. And then this one has gold foil already on it as well. Another white card base. Yep, these are white card bases. And then you've got some ombre paper with some gold embossing speckled on them, and then some ombre paper in the Tahitian tide too. And these are like little banners that punch out. So I'm excited to do this kit. I was working on these class projects, so I did not get time to create that, but there is always time to take a little break and do something creative. So Paper Pumpkin is a great way to do that. So Paper Pumpkin kits are great if you find yourself wanting that creative escape and you just don't want to take the time to design the card and try to figure something out. Paper Pumpkin takes all the work out of it. Oh, and then you get a little Stampin' Spot, and this one's basic gray. So for this particular kit, so the kit averages, it's like $21-ish with your shipping tax, shipped right to your home. So in this, you get 10 cards in that for $20. Plus, then you've got a stamp set. Your first Paper Pumpkin subscription, you get the stamping block, and then you also get inks. So, you're getting the 10 cards, but you're also getting a stamp set, ink, and you can reuse those. So it kind of lets you have some stamps on hand for when you need a quick card. So I would encourage you, if you're a new stamper or you would like just to have that creative escape, to try Paper Pumpkin. Feel free to ask me about that. I'd be happy to talk with you more about it. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started with our first card here. And I'm going to tell you, let's see, the supplies that I have in front of me. I've gone ahead and done some die cutting. I'm going to show you a little different way to do our die cutting in this class. So this first card here, I've got a piece of Tahitian tide, and it is cut 5.5 by 8.5. And I can just see my camera like going in and out. I don't know if if I put this in here, it will focus on that. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so that's our temp bars turquoise. And then I've got another piece of the Tahitian tide, and it is cut 4 by 5.25. I've got a piece of basic white that's cut 4 by 5 1/4. And then I've gone ahead and tied a little bow in our new metallic ribbons. And this is the Tahitian tied metallic woven ribbon. Let me get a little closer there so you can see that the sparkly, the shimmer is like woven right into the fibers. So there's not going to be any glitter that comes off. You'll get that shimmer, but no glitter mess. So, and it ties very well. So I've got that already tied there for us. Okay. And before I go any further, so if any of the supplies that we're using today on this class, if you have interest in purchasing them, you can shop my online store. My current host code is ZGNMGWHN. And if you use my host code when you're shopping online, and for any order there, it makes you eligible for my card kits that I give away each month as an extra thank you. So for your order, you get 1 card kit. If your order is over $35, you get 2 of the card kits. And if your order is over $50, you get 3 card kits. And these are just little make and take kits that I have put together, and you can create those projects. And if your order though is $150 or more, don't use the host code. You can enter that on your own and get hostess benefits from Stampin' Up! And I definitely want you to do that. You will also be eligible for those make and take kits, and I will send you all 3 as well. So, okay, so the supplies that I'm using in this first project, I'm using the Whisper White craft pad, and then we're using the new Starry Sky in color and the Tahitian Tide in color ink. And again, I'm using the Tahitian Tide metallic ribbon, metallic woven ribbon, and this comes in all the new in colors. And then I'm using the Happiness Abound stamp set. It's got some great greetings with nice fonts on it, and then some floral images. And I've chosen the greetings out of here. And then I'm using the Nature's Print stamp set. I'm using the images out of this stamp set. I wanted to do a little something different on the verse, so I didn't use these greetings, but I do think they're very nice as well. I like the different fonts that they use within the greeting themselves. So it gives you a different variety. And then I'm using the Natural Prints dies. And on this card, so I use this label. Let me get the ones out here that I used. Loose here. So I'm going to use this label that gives you a nice decorative edge on it when you die cut it. And then these 2 floral pieces, which will cut out this image and this image in the stamp set. And then we're using the new embossing folder. Let me grab the papers there. So this is what it looks like to give you a little bit better of a visual. It's the Fern 3D embossing folder, and that's new. And then I'm also using my Stamparatus, which I will show you once we get to that point. It's a great tool to have for any crafter. So let's start by folding our cardstock in half. This Tahitian Tide is such a fun, bright color, perfect for summertime cards. Perfect probably really for any kind of cheering you up, bright, fun card. So what I'm going to do is run this piece of Tahitian Tide through the embossing folder, and to emboss it with these ferns on it. Oh my goodness. And I'm gonna run that through, and I didn't do one, and so I'm gonna have to you hold on just a second. I'm gonna pause the video. Okay, sorry about that. I thought I had like pre-done one, but I did not. So I ran that through the cut and emboss machine. And when I did, I actually used the embossing plate, which is the thicker gray plate. Because this is a 3D folder, you want to use that for embossing. The clear acrylic plates will not be thick enough to get the impression that you need to emboss the folder. Okay. And I am going to, now I did have goodness. What did I do with that piece? Okay, so you also have a gray granite piece that's cut 1 3/4 by 3. Now I went ahead and die cut this and stamped it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know why I did that, because I needed to actually show you. So I'm going to describe to you what I did, kind of show you. So let me just show you. I went ahead and stamped it, and I've got this image, and I stamped that with the white crafting. And you can see, look at the camera, you can see this has like a decorative edge on it, okay? But I used this die. And when I did this, just to get the decorative edge on the lower portion without cutting through the whole piece, what I did was take my cardstock, take it through the top of the die, okay? Line it up here at the bottom. And so there was a little bit, like a 1/4 inch of cardstock sticking out below, because obviously I cut that off. But I ran that through the cut and emboss machine just like this, so that my cardstock was on top of the upper edge, but below the lower edge, which would be the cutting surface. And when I ran it through, it leaves me with that decorative lower edge like that. So I've got that all set aside to it's drying. And I went ahead and ran these dies through the cut and emboss machine. So I've got the fern, I've got the flower, and I've got my label piece. So all of these pieces. And I'm going to show you a different way that I've started doing my die cutting when I'm making a lot of one card. It just simplifies the process. You know, many times when we're stamping, we'll take that image, stamp it with the ink, then place the die on top. You might use a little washi tape, run it through the die cutting machine, but you just have to position and line everything up. And sometimes that can be a little more time consuming. And sometimes if you don't fasten it down with some washi tape, those dies can slip and cut your image not the way you want it. So I do want to share with you a different way to do your die cutting. And I'm going to do that on several of the projects today. I'm sorry, let me come back to this because this needs to set aside and dry for a little bit. Okay, I'm going to grab the white crafting. I've got a sponge dauber, and I'm going to dab that on my white crafting. Then I'm going to take and gently glide that across my cardstock, just touching the embossed ferns with the crafting to just make them a little more pronounced. Just want to use a light hand. You don't want to get real aggressive with this. It's just really trying to enhance those embossed ferns and not overwhelm it. If you have a heavy hand, you're going to get globs of ink and it's going to overwhelm your project. And it's meant to create a subtle background that makes an impact, but not overwhelm and just be like, well, that's a lot of white ink, you know, it's too much. Okay. And again, I also use the white ink to stamp that image as well. So I'm going to set this side to dry. The white crafting just takes a little bit to dry. So I'll set that aside and come back in now with my Stamparatus. So what I did was I made myself the stamp piece right here. I made myself a template. I took a piece of the cardstock and ran the 2 dies through my cut and emboss machine to make those die cut windows. Then I just took that piece and lined that up in the corner of my Stamparatus, and then positioned my stamps over top of these openings so that they will line up with where I have die cut. So when I am making a lot of cards, the same thing, I like to do this method because then I can just take my die cut pieces, which when you're die cutting images out like this, where you're just die cutting it, you're not trying to line up with a stamped image, you just want the shape. You can actually do 2 pieces of cardstock at one time. So I am cutting both like 2 pieces with one swipe of the embossing cut machine and saving time. And then I'm just going to put them in this way and stamp them instead of lining up each stamped image and then die cutting it singly and then going back and lining it up again and die cutting it again. So I've inked that fern with the Starry Sky. And then I'm going to do the Tahitian tie. Then I'm going to go ahead and close that down and apply some pressure. Bring that up and I'm done. Those pieces are stamped and they are die cut out. Super simple, super easy. And then to clean this off, you would just take your chamois and throw that around the stamped image and you're good to go. So I can close that. It's set in place. I can use it again when I need to do so. Back in. So I need to stamp my greeting. I'm going to make this one a birthday card. And just ink that in the Tahitian Tide and stamp that down. And then I've got an inside layer here and I'm going to ink the fern piece and the Starry Sky. I'll just do that on the side like that. You know what, I'll go ahead and do the envelope, that fern as well. Let's see. I think I'm going to do it like that. So then it kind of looks like it's a seal across the back side of the envelope. So clean that off. Go ahead and shut my ink so don't set my cardstock in that. And then I've got all my pieces and parts. I'm ready to assemble my card. I'll take this out of the way. All right, bring my fern piece back in that is dry. Go ahead and put some adhesive on that. Using the liquid adhesive just so it kind of gets in all those little nooks and crannies. Lay that layer directly on top of our Tahitian Tide cardstock base. Well, I want to put a greeting on this for the inside too. I'm going to use the, so I've got happy birthday on the outside and then wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. And then I'm going to flip that over, get some adhesive on that. That inside layer in there. And then we're going to build our other layers. So put a little adhesive on the back side of this gray granite piece and layer that up here in the upper left. Okay. And then I want to put this label on with some dimensionals. Pop that up. Okay, and so since I die cut that and kind of have the outline of the label piece, what I'm going to do is just line that over top of it, but bump it up a little bit so that I get that accent piece that follows my label. And then I'm going to take my die cut pieces and I'm actually just going to snip off the ends because I'm going to tuck them behind and I don't quite need it that long. Put a little liquid adhesive on and feel where that dimensional is at there. It's another reason why I like kind of snipped off the ends because I've got a dimensional down there. So I need to be able to tuck it underneath, and cutting that off will allow me to do that. Okay. And I want to put my little bow there. So let me grab a glue dot. Some paper pumpkin ones here that I'm gonna place my glue dot there and put a little paper thing off. And then put there. And I'm going to just clean up those ends a little bit. It's a little longer than I wanted. Snip off the ends. And there we go. So there's our first card. Happy birthday. Okay. All right. I'm going to set this one aside and get the supplies for the next project, and I will be right back. Okay, all right, this next project that I'm going to share with you is going to use the Sending Smiles stamp set, which is a new stamp set in the annual catalog. Love this stamp set. I love that, you know, it's just got the word sending on it, but then it is like some all occasion different words, which let me put them up there so you can get a closer look at them. I particularly like the sending sunshine to brighten your day. You know how I'm always like, send the paper sunshine, make paper sunshine. I'm all about that. Anyway, so this set just like spoke to me. It's got flowers in it. I mean, and who doesn't love flowers? So, so there's the stamp set, and then it also comes with some coordinating dies, the sending dies, which cut out a bubble cut like the word sending, and then you have the detailed sending word to kind of overlay that, and then it comes and cuts out all the floral images that are in here, and then you've got a couple different labels for the words that are in here as well. So great bundle, highly recommend it. Actually, I'm considering maybe doing a product bundled class with this one too. So watch your email for those details if I can get that together. And then I also use the Blossoming Happiness dies. And I took this particular die out of there. And we're going to do a background piece for our card. These dies here make some really great edges on your card. And this one here in particular, if you use it on the edge of your cardstock, it looks like it's torn paper, like out of a notebook. So you get a really cool finished edge here with this die. And then these, of course, are the flowers. This actually goes, these are the dies that go with the stamp set that I used earlier. Let's grab it just to bring it back in here. So these two actually go together. These images all cut out the flower images in the stamp set. So, but on this one, I'm just using the dies. So put that down there. The cardstock, the colors that we're using are Mango Melody, the Orchid Oasis, which is actually a new in color, the Parakeet Party, a new in color this year, and then the Polished Pink, which is an in color from last year that is carrying over and still will be available this next year. And then I am also using the Stamparatus again with my die cutting technique to show you that again, or we're going to stamp all these images at one time and be done with it. So just making sure I have that in the corner there. Okay. All right. So the supplies that we're using on this project And again, I've already die cut all those pieces out. So we've got all of our flower pieces. And I'm using some Very Vanilla, and that is cut at 5.5 by 8.5. And then I've got a piece of basic, or not basic white, Very Vanilla, that's cut 4 by 5.25. And as you can see, I have already die cut this out. So what I did was just take this die, lay it on my cardstock, and I just kind of laid it there at an angle. It wasn't, I wasn't trying to do it straight or anything. I was just simply wanting to create texture on the background of this piece. Ran that through the cut and emboss machine, comes out very nicely. And then you can see here, so if you look up here, there are some little pieces that are still attached here. Those are actually meant to be still attached on one, like little petals. And you can go through and pop up each individual one, the ones that you would see here, or you can leave it flat. I'm going to leave it flat because I'm just using it to create texture in the background of my card. So I've gone ahead and done that. And again, I went ahead and die cut all my pieces out of Very Vanilla. So we're going to just get started stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my cardstock base in half and flatten that with a bone folder. Funny story. So the bone folder, it seems like at every class, I have a bone folder that it goes home with somebody. It happens. They are so slim, and you're cleaning up your supplies. It just does. I think it's traveled home with like half a dozen different ladies. So I said to, I don't know, one of the ladies at the last class, I can't remember who I said it to. I was just like, I think I'm going to start to call this, like that movie, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I think it's something like that. I'm gonna be like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Bone Folder. That who is it going to go home with at the next class? I don't know. It's kind of funny. Only a stamper would probably get that and think it was funny. But anyway, okay. Folded our cardstock in half, our card base, and we're going to come in here and do a little stamping. So I've got mango, the orchid, parakeet, okay. So I want to stamp my greeting on this. I am going to wait until after I've done all my stamping on my dies or my stamp images. So I'm going to just kind of put this to the side here, just because I want to make sure you can actually see it all in the camera view. And so I've just created a template. Now on this one, because these are polymer stamps, I do have my foam mat in my Stamparatus. That's just to give it a little extra height and cushion for a nice transfer with those images. And let's hope I've set this back up correctly. If not, we will try it again, but I think it's all in place. So I'm going to take and put my pieces in here that I've die cut, much like a little puzzle. I'm just going to take those pieces, put them in here. And like I said, you could stamp all these, run each individual die and die cut them out, totally fine, whatever works for you. I just found for me, I could cut 2 of these at one time and then stamp them this way. And I was able to run these all through the cut and emboss machine at one time with all the dies and get 2. Whereas if you had stamped them and ran them through individually, you of course wouldn't be able to do that because you need to line each one up. Okay, so I'm going to start with my mango, and I'm going to ink my sending and my flower at the bottom there. And I'm going to come in with my parakeet party, ink my 2 stems. Got my polished pink. And last, my orchid oasis. Okay. So we're going to take this, close this. Come in with my little I don't know. It's like this was an old cookie press that Stampin' Up! Used to have cookie presses years ago. Let's see how those look. Okay, we want to go again here. That looks pretty good. I'm going to take that one out. We had cookie presses years ago, and you could put little silicone. I'm doing this on the side. I maybe should be doing it straightforward because I'm not actually looking at things very well myself. Let me take this off and come back and move this magnet down because I think it might be interfering when I'm pressing down. There we go. Okay. Let me set this aside and then I'll explain to you what I was talking about. It's like, you know, I'm going to do two things at once here. I'm not, I'm bound to mess up one of them. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, set this aside. All of our images are stamped. Let me come back in and tell you what I was saying about this. So this is an old cookie press. We used to have there were silicone little attachments that you put on the end of the knob, and you could press it in like a shortbread cookie, like a heart and a snowflake and a flower and things like that. Anyway, I just took the knobs that were in the cookie press and I put some felt on the bottom, and it makes a great like to be able to press down on the Stamparatus so you can apply even pressure. And for those of us that, you know, if your hands are hurting and it's hard to press down, you know, bothers your hands, this makes it so much easier. So I need to connect with like a woodworker that does like, what do they call that? Turning, and see if they can make these, because I think they'd be very handy to stampers. So, okay, back to our regularly scheduled program here. I took a little side note there. Okay, now I'm going to come in with the center for this flower and stamp that in the pink. And then I'm going to use the other center, stamp that in the mango, and take that over our center for our polished pink flower. And then there is a little center for this Orchid Oasis one, but honestly, it's like half the size of a pencil eraser. I'm just gonna color it in with my marker. Works a lot easier. I find that works great. That's what we did at the class too. It works really well. And that little stamp with all, you know, all those ladies, it's bound to get stuck to something, and it may not have come home with me. So the marker was a better option. Okay, I have left my mango cardstock open because I need to stamp a greeting. So I'm going to put the sending on here about in this area on my card. And I want to stamp a greeting down below here. So sending you sunshine to brighten your day. Okay. I'm going to put it about right there. Love that. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Okay, so we are ready to assemble our card. Let me take this white paper out. I'm going to put a little adhesive on the back side, just taking note to kind of put it around the frame of this card, because I obviously don't want glue coming through my little peekaboo spots there. Okay. And then I'm going to put my sending up with some dimensionals off. So it just needs some little spots. Don't forget, on your sheet of dimensionals, these little guys on the end, they are just as usable as those little nice little hexagon shaped ones. So I'm going to take some pieces of my dimensionals, put those in. here. Okay, so we've got 3. And I'll show you why I'm putting this one down first, because we're going to build our card from there. So I'm going to take that, set it in place. Okay, so I've got sending sunshine to brighten your day. And then I want to put my little stems on. So let me get some glue on those. There, and then put this other one kind of like coming right above the eye there. Do that. And then I want to put my blossoms actually up on dimensionals. So I'm going to take some more of those pieces and parts. They're not really big, so it's not like I need to really load them up with dimensionals. I'm going to put this one right here. We'll come in with this little one. Let's see, how do I want to put that on there? Okay. And then this last one, put right here. Okay. All right. So there is our next, our second card. And I don't have like, I need something for my envelope. I'm gonna use these little, you know what, I think I'll use these little green pieces. Let me grab a block here. Back in with the Parakeet Party ink. And do a little stamping of some greenery pieces on. Oh, I like that. It looks so pretty. That green is so nice and bright, just very cheery. Clean that off. Okay, so there we go. We've got our card, sending some sunshine to brighten your day, with a nice envelope to go along with it. And I will set these aside and get bring out the supplies for our next project. Okay, this next project, we are using the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. This was an early release bundle, and my goodness, it's May, so like I think it was released in March. It was available, and the dies, the Waves dies, go along with this stamp set. And then it was also released with some metallic blues specialty paper, some designer series paper, and then some blue rhinestones that were shades of all different kinds of blue. The foil paper and the rhinestones sold out quickly. See that, or the DSP one? Anyway, they sold out very quickly. I would have loved for them to like carry it on, but they did not do that. Alas, they did not listen to me. Stampin' Up! Did not. So anyway, we're using these 2 products. They're beautiful. It's a great bundle. And then I also grabbed the Peaceful Moment stamp set because I was like, I wasn't sure whether I was going to make this like a encouragement card or do happy birthday. So I grabbed both of those. We are using watercolor paper on this project. This is our Fluid 100 watercolor paper. It is a nice weight of paper that when you're putting watercolor on it, it's not going to ripple, much like the basic white would possibly do that. The thick basic white doesn't do that so much. It's a little bit more, the thickness to it does help there, but the Fluid 100 watercolor paper is great for watercoloring, and you don't get that waviness to your paper, which you'll see here in a little bit because we're going to do that. I've used Night of Navy ink, soft suede ink, and a black StazOn pad. And then I've come in with some of the holiday rhinestone gems, which I'm just using the blue ones here. So we're going to use those for an accent as well. And then I've got my watercolor painters. So let me set these aside. Okay, so what we've got, I've gone ahead and die cut the label out of the die set. So I took this label and went ahead and die cut that out of the watercolor paper for us. And that is here. Then the rest of my supply. So I've got a piece of Night of Navy that's cut 5.5 by 8.5. I've got a piece of the silver metallic. Oh, look, you can see me there. Hello, see. It's not a very flattering picture, but I am there in the reflection. This is a piece of the silver metallic paper, and that is cut 4 by 5.25. And believe me, it was killing me, just much like the rest of the ladies at the class, that I didn't die cut anything out of this. We just layered right over it. That is shocking. I know you are all like, Christina, are you feeling okay? Like, you did not die cut or punch anything out of this. I know. It's shocking. I surprise myself sometimes. Then I've got a piece of the blue metallic paper. Now, this is the metallic paper that was part of that early release promotion. So it is not available, but it complemented this project. I had it, so I went ahead and put that on here. It is 5/8 of an inch by 4 inches. And then I've got 2 pieces of the watercolor paper, and those are cut 3 3/4 by 5. And we've got 2 of those. Okay. So we are going to start by folding our card base in half. That in that crease with our bone folder. Set that aside. We've got these pieces to set aside. Come back in here with some stamping paper. Okay, I am going to start by doing some watercoloring. So I've got the large wave image on the stamp. I'm going to open up my Night of Navy ink. And when I've got a large background stamp, I just prefer to ink it this way. Just leave that on my stamping surface and flip the pad upside down. And then I'm just going to stamp that down. Okay, so see, you get this really cool, like wave image, such detail, like super neat. And then I'm going to show you here. See how I'd like, oh man, Christina, you didn't do this right. Look, you can see an edge there. No worries, we're going to fix that. I kind of did it on purpose. So show you what we're going to do. Then I'm going to just ink this lower portion because I want to stamp a little bit of water on the inside of my card. So I'm going to flip my wave over and just put a little bit of that texture at the base of the card there. Okay, I'm going to stamp aside here. Okay, I'm just let that sit for just a bit. I'm going to go ahead and make this Your Strength as an Inspiration. I've got somebody I think I definitely want to send this one to. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that. And this Your Strength as an Inspiration is in the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. There we go. Now the watercolor paper, when you're working with it, you stamp, it does take a little bit longer to dry because it's kind of like, I want to say, like, think of a paper towel, you know, it absorbs it, but it just, it sits there a little bit. So you don't want to stamp and like swipe across your hand, you know, your hand across your cardstock, much like you can do with our basic white, or it will most likely smear. And then, let me do the watercoloring first. I'll come back in and do those things. Okay, so I've got my painter here, and I'm sorry, I was off camera. I'm sorry. I was squeezing it right here, and just to get that water started coming down in the brush. Okay. So I'm going to take my brush and just swipe it across the wave. And you can see what it's doing. It's just taking that wave and creating depth to the image by blending the detail on that stem. And oh, there you go. So you can like get depth to the wave. I hope that makes sense if I'm describing that right. And you see how like I had an edge here at the bottom? Well, I just like watercolored that over. So it was no big deal. Like you can't even tell. And some of the ladies at the class were on their, and then to clean up your painters, you just wipe it on your cardstock till the color isn't coming out and you're good to go. Some of the ladies at the class were like putting little waves in this to kind of show like, you know, not calm waters. They were kind of ripply there. So you would then set these aside to dry a bit. I'm gonna fold this. No, you know what? I'm gonna get another piece of paper because it does have water on it. So as those sit to dry, I'm going to do a little stamping around them additionally. So I'm done with my native navy ink. I come in with my soft suede. And we're going to put a little pelican on this one inside piece. Okay, so we've got that stamped. You know what? I think we'll put a little pelican guy on our envelope. And go. Typically I put the just the little stamp in this side, but because he's looking that way, I kind of like want it to be here. So I think that'll look better. Presentation on the envelope. Bring the Stays On pad in here. I want to stamp a few birds. Okay. I'm going to let these set aside to dry here. Just set them up there on my computer. Let those dry. Set out of the way here. Clean off my bird. And we will assemble this card. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start by putting the metallic cardstock on here. And let me grab my tape runner. Again, I know it's shocking. I don't have a layer. I'm not cutting anything out of this. It's shocking. Okay, and then I'm going to come back in with my pieces. This is my inside layer. So that inside of my card. Okay. And then I want to take my metallic blue piece and I'm going to just weave it underneath. I don't want to put a little adhesive there. So I'm just going to kind of like a piece of ribbon in a sense. It's going to go through my label piece. Faux ribbon, if you will. And I was hoping that I stamped those birds in a good location. I'm just like, yeah, need to kind of, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on. I'll add my label last. Like right there. There we go. Here's my other piece. So these were my examples. They were sitting and drying. So I've still got those drying I don't want to put it together and end up smearing that. You just want to give it a little bit of time to dry. So then I've got my labeled piece on there. Let me look at that for a minute. I was like, oh, did I stamp that straight? And then I'm going to come in with some gems. Here. I'll put a few gems on this. One right there. You can get it off of there. Here. We'll do another over here. Just take an extra little something. You know, you've got that metallic cardstock and then the gems coming in. Just really makes that paper and those gems kind of pop and really play off of one another. But then there we go. We've got, this is our third card. Okay. And I will clean these supplies up and I'll be right back with one more project for you. Okay, our last project here, we are using the Flowering Rain Boots stamp set, and this stamp set is not carrying over into the big annual catalog. I'm so disappointed by that because it's such a beautiful stamp set. Like, I don't know, I'm just like, I can't believe it's not carrying over. I still don't believe it is. Now I'm gonna, you know what, now I've gotta, now I need to double check myself. I'm almost positive. Let me look again because I thought about it too much and now I'm second guessing myself. Flowering. No, it's not. One can only hope that they'll carry it over when the fall catalog comes out and it'll be a carryover item, but right now it's not in the annual catalog. I love this stamp set. These boots are so cute. The images have like a watercolor feel to them as far as the imagery in the stamp sets. So I'm really a fan of this and I like the greetings too. And then we're using the Oceanfront stamp set as well for some background stamping. I've got all my stamps from the Flowering Rain Boots stamp set on the Stamparatus. We're going to do the same technique. Again, I cut 2 of these out at each swipe through, and then I can easily stamp them and move on to the next set. So very easy to do multiple ones. So I've already got all those pieces and parts already die cut out. I did that with the Flowering or the Rain Boots dies. And the inks that we're using on this card, we're using Gorgeous Grape, Magenta Madness, which I think I pulled this one out and I think it just retired. I think I had designed this card before it pulled out. So that's, but you can use any, like a bright pink. Cinnamon Cider, which is one of our current in colors. Pear Pizzazz, I've got that in a Stampin' Spot. When you're using your Stamparatus, the spots are a great thing to ink your stamps with. Gray Granite in the Stampin' Spot, Pool Party, and Early Espresso. And then I'm going to bring my stamp mat in here to do some stamping on. We're also using the Essentials Twine Pack. I've just taken the white out of there and made a little bow for a project, and the Memento Black ink. So I just realized that I didn't put these stamps on blocks. So I'm going to pull those out. I need. That on the block. Let me grab some blocks here to get these little guys on. And this one should fit on here. See, there we go. Try to put it on an angle a little bit. So my supplies on this project, I've got a piece of Pool Party that is cut 4 1/4 by 11. And then a piece of basic white that is 4 by 5 1/4. And I've used one of our confetti envelopes, which are, they're retired, but I've had a bunch of them and I thought they complemented this project really well. So I've got that for my envelope. And then I just used a piece of basic white, an extra piece to cut those dies out. So I'm going to start by folding or by stamping on my card front. So I'm going to use the Pool Party and Early Espresso for this. And what I'm going to do is first come in with Pool Party. Stamp that down. I need to pull this a little closer to me. Stamp that down once, and then I'm going to ink it again. Now, when you're inking this particular stamps, the stamps in this set that have like a watercolory type texture to them, I find it's best for you to tap around your ink pad instead of just pushing right in the center, because very often you create like a suction on the stamp and it actually pulls ink off. So just gently tap around. You get better ink coverage on your image with a stamp like this. Okay, so I've created 2 of those to kind of create a sky background. And then I'm going to take this Early Espresso and doing that same thing, kind of tapping around my ink pad, and I'm going to use the straight edge and stamp that kind of in line with that to create like a shelf in a sense. That's my vision anyway, where I'm going with that. Okay. And oh man, oops, I got to do some little grasses. So I'm going to stamp some little grasses on each side of my little sky ground shelf, whatever you want to call it. Just kind of create a background there. Set that aside. And then we're going to stamp with our Stamparatus. Get my little puzzle pieces and make sure this is back in the corner where I need it to be. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the Pool Party ink and the Early Espresso because I'm done with those 2. I don't want to set our pieces there. Okay, let's get all of our pieces in. So I've got my little tulip piece. I've got the watering can. Here we go with a little terracotta pot, or we're going to make it like a terracotta with our cinnamon cider. And a little daisies. Okay, so I'm going to start with my pair of pizzazz and ink the tulip stems. Then come in with my great granite and ink that watering can. And again, with a little Stampin' Swatch, you just kind of tap around. Almost set my sleeve in there. Then with the cinnamon cider and ink the little terracotta pot. The Magenta Madness, we're going to get our little tulips there. Okay. I'm pretty confident I'm shutting each one of these that they're going to stamp fine, and I'm not going to have to re-ink them. We'll see how that goes. I might just jinx myself on that one. Okay. Okay, here goes. So we've got all of our pieces in place. We're going to put that on top. Bring our little cookie press Stamparatus slider in here. Press that down. Okay, let's see how they're looking. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so we've got all of our pieces. Look at that. Already die cut, already stamped. Again, one trip to the Big Shot or the cut and emboss machine to die cut all those out. And I may have just put my sleeve in that gorgeous grape ink. So it's a good thing I've got stain treater. Yeah. I actually wore white jeans to the class and ended up with magenta ink right on the leg of my white jeans. So you know, that's all good. Okay, take our Pool party cardstock, fold that in half so we can start building our card here. Okay. And oh, I need a greeting. Let's see what we're gonna do here. Life in full bloom. Our friendship is naturally beautiful. I like that one. Grab that. Put it on a block. Stamp that in the memento ink. Up here in the corner. All right. We've got all of our pieces, everything stamped. So we're going to go ahead and start layering our card. Where's my little tape runner at? I don't know what I did with it. So we're going to use liquid glue. I probably set it aside with the other supplies in that last project. So we'll put that on as our layer. Those stamps just create such dimension on the front of the card. Just by stamping those, it looks like you have other layers there, when in reality you do not. So I'm going to put the terracotta pot. Okay. And then I want to use some dimensionals on these other pieces. Okay, so for my watering can, we're using this. It is a bigger set of blossoms than what the watering can will allow in essence. So what I'm going to do is take, let's see. So it would be these two little guys. So the left pieces. Just going to trim that off. And I'm retrimming them because I think I'm going to use that on the inside of my card. So we're just going to hang on to those. Okay, so my watering can, I want to put that on with some dimensionals. Pop that up. Okay. Let's see, we're going to put this about right here. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay. And a couple dimensionals on our daisies. My daisies are just starting to come up, the Shastas. Oh, can't wait to see them. Put that there. And then they're so pretty when they bloom, but we have such a problem with the deer. I don't know if any of you ladies, oh my goodness, the deer are crazy. Like, I'm all about nature. I love it, but I'm sorry, they're destructive here in North Canton. It's a real problem. A real problem. Like, not good. I don't particularly like providing a salad bar for them, you know, with all my flowers and stuff like that. It's like I weed and make sure they look good and the flowers are good, and then the deer are like, oh, this is like a salad bar. They have all kinds of different things that just come up myself, and they do. The one night I was doing dishes at the sink, and for those of you that have been to our house, you know, our kitchen faces the driveway. No joke, there were 6 deer, 6 of them, right there by the flower bed in the driveway. Like dinner, like it was probably like 6:30, 7 o'clock when I was doing dishes. I'm like, oh my gosh, these deer are crazy. Like, they're just not at all bothered by the fact that, you know, there are humans staring at them. I suppose they sense like, oh, they're friendly. She's not going to do anything. She's doing the dishes. So, okay, so I put those, a little bow there, and then I'm gonna bring this in and put it inside of my card. Down here in the corner. I mean, it's a little piece that it's like, might as well use it. already stamped. So just add that little extra touch to your card. Let me make sure I'm putting this on correctly. All righty. And let's see. We're going to stamp on our envelope. This is like a little, like flower packet. Do that. What color should we do then? Maybe the pool party, because that's the color of the card base. So try that. Just put like a little seed packet right there. Oh, see, it looks like a little seal. I like that. We'll do that. It's like sealing the envelope. Okay. And there we go. Our fourth card there. Okay. All right, let me just kind of clear these things out of the way and I'll bring the cards back in. Okay. It's always like a hot mess. It's like a hot frenzy of paper stuff flying everywhere. Okay, so we've got that one. We've got our waves of inspiration. We've got our sending a sunshine and our ferns with our sun prince card. Okay, so that is everything that I shared with you ladies today, or stampers. I'm so grateful for you joining me today. I hope that you have enjoyed the projects. They've provided you with creative inspiration. You can send the cards to brighten someone's day. And that's really what it's all about. So hang on just a second. I'll flip the camera around. Okay. All right. Well, that was like a stamping frenzy. Hopefully I wasn't like all over the place and you ladies were able to, walk with me on that project creation and enjoy the journey. And I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you tuning in. And if you have any questions about anything that I used in today's projects, just ask me. You can email me, and you're welcome to use that hostess code if there's something there that you're like, you know what, I want to get that because I'd like to create with it too at home. And also paper pumpkin. If you have any interest in paper pumpkin, reach out to me. And right now, June's kit has something to do with berries, like fresh fruit, and like a farmer's market-y kind of feel with cards. And I think it's a 9-card kit. I'll probably be sending those details out in my newsletter, so watch for those. So yeah. Okay, thanks again for stopping in and stamping with me today. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Until next time, bye.